It's the DC Crossover Podcast with your hosts, Mike Cerrone and Ben Simpson.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the DC Crossover. I am Ben Simpson. That is Mike Cerrone, and we are bringing you episode number 63. Yes, we've done 62 of these, and we have another one in store for you today. Whether you're listening to us live on the Contender, whether you are listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, or if you're just leaning your head into your neighbor's window and overhearing us, maybe they're watching us on their YouTube channel or something like that. Mike's camera's going all over the place.
That scared the heck out of me.
I thought you just had a heart attack. We're off to a great start. Hope you enjoyed the special live version of the podcast that we had last week where Mike and I took over the airwaves of the Contender. It was fun. Mike, it took me back to the old WGMU days of being on the radio, having a phone line, and having no calls. That was the WGMU special.
Yes, that was definitely the special. And we did have one call, which we might share that out one of these days, but that was not a call about sports. It was a call about concerts.
Right,
and
classic.
We didn't do a show about concerts. So that was definitely a trip back in the day. So I did dig that out of the vault, the first pick vault, and showed that to you, and we got a good chuckle out of it. So we'll have to release that one of these days.
Yeah, that is one of the classic first pick DC crossover type moments, was Mike and I being live on the air, receiving a phone call from a concert goer who had won tickets from the station, and for some reason, there was some sort of issue at the box office, and they called our live sports radio show as if we had any sort of abilities to help them out with the situation. But you know what? It was still fun. TheContender.com. You can listen to our show. It streams live typically on Tuesdays at noon after Bill Rowland's show. So he's kind of like our opener, and we're the main event. We're the headliner. Bill does a great job. Listen to his show. He does his show live on Tuesdays, so you get kind of the live reactions there. And Mike and I will hopefully be doing some more live stuff with the Contender moving forward. The best way to keep in touch with that sort of thing is follow us on Twitter at the DC Crossover for myself and at Cerrone16 for Michael. And that's the best way you can keep track with what we are up to. But Mike, before we get to all the sadness of this episode because of just how terrible DC sports is, let's talk a little bit of happy things. It's Memorial Day weekend. It is a little dark and dreary out today, and yesterday it was a little bit colder, a little rainier. I don't even know how those fans did it going to the Nats game yesterday where it just rained all day. But Mike, I want to know, looked like from social media, looked like you were enjoying yourself at a few establishments, a few breweries and restaurants and things like that yesterday. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was a very good time. I mean, I actually forgot that it was Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
The thing about, being a teacher in today's crazy coronavirus, all this kind of hoopla that's going on, is that everyone's just trying to survive to the finish.
Sure.
Because there's so many rules and different things of that nature where, honestly, I didn't have any clue that this was Memorial Day weekend because of the sole fact that you're counting down the days until this year is over, and then hopefully next year everything goes back to normal because I work in Fairfax County, and they're going back to 5 days a week next year, and who knows about the masks and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you're looking at it and saying, like, I didn't even know it was a holiday. You know what I mean, because also we have Mondays for planning and meetings and stuff like that. So Mondays isn't usually a go into work day for the most part. I mean, you can if you need to and whatnot because the school is open and they do have the office staff there and whatever. As I'm sure Abby knows that because your wife is working for Fairfax County as well.
Yep.
Not lately, obviously, because of the whole entire baby, but at the same time, you're looking at it and saying, well, not going in, I should say.
Sure, I got you.
But whatever.
I understand.
Okay. Well, sorry. On the camera, it looked like I was wrong, so I was like, well, let me correct myself. So it's just like everyone's just trying to count down, and it's kind of like Jimmy V, survive in advance. Just every single day you're counting down the days, and this is really, the holidays, sweet, great, holiday, it's like I didn't really think of anything more. But yes, did go to a couple of different places.
You were frequenting what, Old Town Alexandria, it looked like?
Yes, last night.
I love a good Old Town.
Finally went to Port City. It's one of my favorite local beers.
Sure.
And that actually was a nice place, pretty nice place.
Shout out to Port City. I'm a Solace Brewing guy, but
Okay.
Port City is a solid spot for sure.
Oh yeah, the partly cloudy is one of my newer faves.
Yes, partly cloudy's great.
It's a solid, solid choice of beverage.
I'm a
But,
Lucy Juicy guy. It's like a double
Ooh.
IPA or something. It's crazy. But no,
you know more. Go ahead.
There's a lot of different breweries. I mean, the crazy thing about being in the Northern Virginia area, obviously our show is DC based. There's breweries all over the place. I mean, it's Sterling, Herndon, Reston. I mean, there's breweries everywhere. So for beer lovers like Michael and myself, I mean, there's you got everything you could possibly need. As far as, I mean, there's breweries. There's one right down the road from me, Mustang Sally.
Right.
Shout out to them in Chantilly.
Oh, I went there. I went
they're
there.
a
I
solid
think,
spot.
I think it was last week. I believe it was.
Did you were probably 5 minutes away from my house.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I already live like 10 minutes away
That's
from your
true,
house.
that's
So,
true.
anyways, but besides the point. Like literally, we were there. Me and my girlfriend were there, and all of a sudden, this like huge bus of guys came in. It was like a bachelor party, something or another.
Party.
And it was really weird. Like we were trying to make bets on which one was the groom because they were all like wearing rings, and then one guy was trying to direct people, and we were trying to figure out who was who. And Mustang Sally is not a bad place though. It's a pretty solid establishment, pretty solid joint. I don't really like how it's all the way in the back. You have to drive all the way back there
Yeah,
and stuff
right.
like that. It's kind of like hidden.
That's the
which is
weird thing
kinda
about breweries
but-
in this area is they'll be in like office parks. So it'll be like
Yeah.
you'll be expecting to go work for like Dunder Mifflin, and next thing you know, there's Mustang Sally's. It's kind of a wild scene, but the beer lovers, it's a great place to be, Northern Virginia for that.
Port City was actually a really nice. I think it would be nice to go there and watch like a playoff game or something of that
Sure.
nature. But definitely was nice checking that place out. Finally, I've been wanting to check that out for a couple of years now. But yeah, it was definitely a pretty fun weekend. But the last couple of weekends, been venturing out to see some new breweries and different things of that nature because the school is winding down, like I said. But Memorial Day weekend madness has basically always been a thing. And today I went, real quick story. Today I went to Costco, and when I went inside there, it was just. I mean, people walking slow, just like checking out the aisles. It's like, yo, get in, get out.
America's
Like,
back,
figure-
man. America's back, baby.
Yeah, America's back, baby. But just figure out what you want. Like I went in there to pick up a cake because my
love
Graham
Costco
is
cakes.
we're celebrating her birthday tomorrow.
Shout out to
And
her.
my mom. Yeah, shout out to Graham. And my mom, I said, hey, can you go get the cake? And I said, okay, that's fine. So I went in there. I got the cake. It
Costco
was
cakes,
just a
by the way,
madhouse.
underrated. They're some
Yeah.
of the best.
Oh.
I had a Costco cake at my wedding. Costco cakes
Oh,
are
whoa.
fantastic.
Well, my favorite cake is the chocolate Costco cake.
Sure.
That is already pre-made. It's in the. It's
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
They didn't sell them over the virus because not people were just going out buying cakes.
Right.
But they need to bring that back. But at the same time, this is like a customized cake and everything, obviously. And I went in there, and not to mention, there was a guy that was like 6'7". He looked like he played for the Knicks.
Yeah, the Wizards could have
Like,
used him.
They could have used him. We'll get to that. But it was kind of crazy, though, because, like, of course, this one guy sees I have a cake. That's all I have. And he points me into this, this line's not that long. And he points me to that way. But then the self-checkout was right there, and he wouldn't let me go in the self-checkout. So I'm like, I sat there for 15, 20 minutes waiting
that's
for this
horrible.
whole entire family to go and
Because
get
when you
their
go to
last-minute items of
Costco,
bread.
most folks are not
Oh.
there to buy 2 or 3 things. The Costco
Right.
trip is normally a thing where you're buying in bulk, you're buying
It's a
a bunch of
restock.
stuff. Exactly. Like it's a once every couple weeks sort of thing.
Yep.
So you got to be able to go to self-checkout if you're just a one guy,
Ooh.
a one-item
Yeah.
guy. Did you grab yourself a little hot dog or a slice of za while you were there?
No, I did not.
Ah.
I did not. I didn't see the
Well, maybe they
pizza
don't
on
even
the
have.
menu.
I haven't been to Costco in a long time, so maybe they don't even have that right now because of COVID. I don't know.
Well, they do have the cool self ordering kiosk thing, which is actually a pretty neat thing
Sure.
because remember how you always have to wait in line.
Oh,
and all that
forever.
kind of
It takes
stuff.
forever there.
But the worst part is that I was trying to pull out, right, and this one guy, I see this person opening up their trunk, and literally they barely got to their trunk, and this guy is holding up 10 cars just to get that one spot.
Hate that.
And I'm like, dude. Like, there's so many spots here, man. Just by the time you park and walk, you'll be in the store before you even get a chance to park at this. Oh man!
Plus, if you're the
That just
guy putting
tilts
stuff
me.
away in your trunk, you feel the pressure of because when I settle in my car, I like to take my time, I buckle my seatbelt, get my music ready, like plug my phone in the charger, get it up on the desk. There's a process. So if I got a guy waiting on me to pull out, I mean, it's like a daycare. I feel pressure because there's like a line when I'm dropping off my daughter. There's a line of people behind me. So after I hand her off, there's a lot of pressure. So sometimes I don't even put the seatbelt
yeah.
on. I just peel out of the parking lot because I get so nervous.
Well, that's the funny thing. I put the cake in there, and this one guy was eyeing me, so I just stared right back at him.
Yeah, that's.
And then he was like, "All right, I'm just gonna keep moving." But that's just the weirdest thing, man. Is when people are set in stone in their ways. And I was trying to get Costco gas too because I figured because I'm driving out to Manassas tomorrow, and I only
especially
have
with the prices
gallons.
these days. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, let me get some gas right now while I'm already over here. And the problem with the Sterling Costco, because that's where the cake was ordered, where the Sterling Costco is, it's hard to get into the gas station because if it's a long line and people are morons, they try to like pull into the one little section so it blocks the whole entire lane.
Oh, yeah.
People were beeping at me. I just looked at the people and I said, "Come on through," and I just made a little line so all the people that were trying to come out of Costco can get through.
Oh,
people were just honking at me, and I'm like, I'm trying to turn into the gas
You got to
station.
get the
man.
Costco gas,
Oh.
man. That's why people are part of Costco. It's for that gas. The Costco
Well,
has a special gas. I don't know why.
Yes, it's special. Yeah. What about the whole entire gas shortage thing? Because didn't that lasted like a day, and everyone's like
The
freaking out.
prices are still high or something. I don't know, man.
I never missed the
That's
day.
another
Yeah,
podcast. That's another podcast. I guess.
That's another. Oh yeah. Let's get started.
Yeah, let's get going here. Let's talk. Let's talk a little
Memorial
DC
Day weekend.
sports. We'll hit up the rewind, a chance to discuss a little bit about the disaster that's been the last week or so of DC sports. We'll start things off with the Washington Wizards. 0-3 this week. It is playoff basketball time. Started off on Sunday, Game 1 versus Philly. Lost 125-118. This was a game that, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but kind of a winnable game, I thought, especially going into the game, and it really kind of stayed close throughout, but no answer for Tobias Harris. 37 points for him. Beal pours in 33 for the Wiz. On Wednesday, lost to Philly, 120-95 in Game 2. Beal with another 33-point game. Didn't get a whole lot of help. And then yesterday, as we record this, Game 3, 132-103. This was a blowout pretty much from the second quarter. Embiid pours in 36. The guy could have had 66 if they had left him in for longer. Wizards 0-3 this week. I'll just jump into the Nats real quick, Mike. 1-5 week for them. Some more losing here. Tuesday, lost 2-1 to Cincy. Schurz pitched pretty good game. 2 runs, 5 hits, 7 innings, but still lost 2-1. Offense wasn't there. Wednesday, you actually got a win, 5-3. Josh Bell, who started to kind of turn things around a little bit. Trey Turner knocks in a run as well. And then the Brewers series started. Saturday was the doubleheader day because Friday got rained out, so it was going to be 2 7-inning games. Nats lost them both. First one 4-1. Freddie Peralta pitched a complete game. 7 innings, though. 7-inning complete game. I don't know if I count it as that. 1 run, 4 hits. Nats couldn't do anything. And then the second game later that evening, 6-2. Pretty close game for a while. Then the Nats give up 4 runs in the 6th. And then on Sunday, 3-0. Brandon Woodruff shutout. Nats can't score a damn run. Even with Juan Soto batting leadoff, Davey Martinez put him at the leadoff spot. I don't know. But what went on with Washington football team, Mike?
The biggest thing for the Washington football team over the last week or so, that Ryan Kerrigan, the former Redskin/WFT member, longtime member, one of the highest sack leaders in the entire organization, has signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. So kind of a similar situation with Bryce Harper, even though Bryce Harper was in his prime. Ryan Kerrigan's at the tail end of his career, but he wanted to go somewhere where he could start, and the Washington football team's defensive line and linebacking core is just on fire right now in the rankings. So, Ryan Kerrigan was just losing spots to all these young guys, so he ended up trying to go to a spot in the Philadelphia Eagles where he could start most likely and I guess get a little leg up on WFT.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Kerrigan play for the Eagles and play this Washington football team, division rival. And we'll get into that probably in the next couple of weeks. We'll start getting into some skins talk. It's OTAs and things like that kick off. We're right around the corner from football season, and we are starting to wind down now that the Cap season is done. The Wizard season will probably be done after tomorrow. So then it will just basically be Nats talk until the Washington football team plays. But the team is still alive for now. Let's talk
The Washington Wizards.
a little Washington Wizards. Oh, boy. Down 0-3 in the first round series to Philly. And before we get to it, we're going to play a little true or false game, Mike and I.
Yippee!
Before I get to that, though, I mean, look, we did not necessarily, going into this Philly series, I don't think you or I, Mike, like we're thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be the 8 seed beating the 1 seed. We're going to see this team pull off the unthinkable. We didn't think that. Did you anticipate what has happened to this point? Like, did you see this team just getting absolutely demolished and likely swept, or did you think they would at least work in a win, maybe 2? I know I said 6 games was my prediction, that the Wizards were at least going to take 2 games. Right now, it's not looking like that at all. So I just want to know, like, has this gone the way you thought it was going to go?
Well, the biggest thing that me and you talked about prior to the play-in games were who do we want to face in that play, or in that either 1-8 or 2-7? Do we want to play the Nets? Do we want to play the Sixers? You said the Sixers. I said the Nets. The Nets have looked pretty damn good, to be honest with you, despite that last game, even when Jason Tatum went for 50+.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I said the Nets because of their defensive prowess not being as high as the Sixers. But it's hard when Embiid is getting double teamed, and that's what their main focus is okay, let's double team Joel Embiid, and he's still making fadeaway buckets. So at that point in time, you got a situation where he's just basically running us into the ground. I mean, he's just saying, hey, I'm not going to take this series lightly, even though you guys have triple-double machine Russ Westbrook, one of the leading scorers in the entire NBA, Bradley Beal. I'm going to show you that I am the best big man in the league, and that's what he's trying to do right now. Now, I don't know if he is the best big man in the league. I would say he's in the top 2 or 3 with Jokic up there and so on and so forth. But at the same time, I think we possibly could have had a better chance against the Nets, but as of right now, I definitely thought the same thing as you, that we could possibly steal a game, maybe even 2, late in the game when, say, Ben Simmons goes 0 for 10 from the free throw line or something of that nature. But that obviously hasn't happened. So, when we're down 0-3, and then if you look at the scores, I mean, just look at the scores now. I mean, okay, the first game, okay, not that bad. We were in it. We were down by around 5, late in the game. But then the last 2 games, we basically got blown out by 25+. So it's like, what are we supposed to do here? Like, where are we supposed to go? And I think the whole entire fact of the matter is that we are not the team that people can see and say, oh, this team is going to be possibly an upset. Like, I even texted you about the Heat. Okay, the Heat, I thought the Heat had a good chance to possibly upset the Bucks. But they're just, as you said in our text thread, they aren't the type of spark team like they were in the bubble last year. And that actually was a good analysis by you, so congratulations.
Thank you.
But you're welcome. But at the same time, it's like you're looking at us, and we're just not the team that can go out there against a team as formidable as the Sixers and win 2 or 3 games in a row or whatever it may be, because the sole fact that the Sixers are seeing us day in and day out now, not once every 3 weeks or something of that nature. So yeah, I think they just know where our kryptonite is right now. And after that first game, they took notice and they were like, all right, let's just beat these guys into the dirt and let's just take it away.
And that's the problem, is that first game, it looked like the type of series I thought this was going to be. The Wizards lost a close game. They were in that game for a while, and then Philly's able to turn it on. And I thought the Wizards made Philly work pretty hard in that one. So yeah, I'm with you. I thought they would put up more of a fight. The defense has been horrendous. Beal's not getting a whole lot of help on offense, and they have no answer for Joel Embiid. It has not been pretty. Let's play a little true or false, Michael. We got the game show music going here. All right, first up, true or false?
I've not seen these questions either.
True or false? The Wizards are one piece away from contending, and by contending I mean, I'll clarify, a top 4 seed. Exactly. See, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Top 4 seed from contending. I would say true. I would say if they can get someone to go along and be a starter possibly at that 4-5 position, not another forward. I need a power forward / center that can crash the boards and get those mean rebounds and have Russ be the point guard and drive and dish to Bradley Beal or feed inside to that one guy. So we'll see what happens. I say yes to a top 4 seed, contend for a title. Not so much.
I'm going to say false. I'm going to say the Wizards are at least 3 pieces away from contending.
Boy.
Here's what I need. I need a defensive stopper, a Jay Crowder type of guy that can come in the game, gives you some edge, and can defend guys like Ben Simmons, like Tobias Harris, and things like that. I'm going to need a superstar, like you said, at the 4 or the 3 or something along those lines, that a third option for Russ and Beal on offense. And then I'm going to need a big man that can guard Joel Embiid. That's what I need.
Yeah.
Because right now, Alex Len can't do it. Daniel Gafford, bless his heart, he can't do it. Robin Lopez can't do it. Thomas Bryant, I don't know. We haven't really been seeing Thomas Bryant in forever. Thomas Bryant can sure get under the skin of Joel Embiid, but could he actually contain him? I don't know. So you're true, I'm false. Second question here. Davis Bertans is a giant bust. Miguel, I'll go first here. I am going to say an absolute emphatic true. Davis Bertans sucks. He sucks. Think about this. Look, Davis Bertans, 2019 Davis Bertans was pretty good. 15.5 points per game. Shot the three ball pretty well. 2020 Davis Bertans, 11.5 points per game. Really not that great of a season. 2021 Bertans, this is the 2020 to 2021 because he sat out, I think, in the bubble season or something. But anyways, this year's Davis Bertans. That's the 11.5 points per game. In the playoffs here, Mike. Game 1, 14 points, 5 for 10 from the field. Respectable. Game 2, 0 points.
Jeez.
0 points. Game 3, 8 points. That is Davis Bertans. That's the guy that's getting paid. Let me remind people what Davis Bertans' contract is real quick, Mike. Davis Bertans signed a 5-year, $80 million contract with the Washington Wizards, including $69 million guaranteed. An average annual salary of $16 million to go 0 points in a playoff game. That is an emphatic true, Michael. Davis Bertans is a giant bust.
Now, I think that when you look at teams that sign these sharpshooters, now that contract is insane. Now that you look at it, and how much of a bust he's been this entire postseason, and even later in the regular season when we could have had some wins when he was shooting bricks off the backboard. I just think that there's only so much of a slump you can take from a guy that is a one-trick pony. You know that he is the type of guy that's going to go out there and shoot no matter where he gets the ball. He's going to try to shoot a three. And that's the thing is he's just forcing things nowadays. And it's like, dude, you got to stop forcing a three. Try to figure out something else because there was a couple of threes, I believe, in the first game against the Sixers where he hit like the side of the backboard. Then he like airballed one. It's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, you're the Latvian laser for a reason. You're more so the Latvian squirt gun right now.
Oh, ding, ding,
you're
ding.
not doing anything.
Got him.
You're not I don't. That didn't make any
Latvian
sense.
squirt gun. I like it.
Thanks, man. But yeah, giant bust. Total true.
Scotty Brooks will be given an extension for the Washington Wizards. True or false?
Definitely a true. I think he's. I mean, not from me.
No, I understand.
Me.
You're not the one that's handing it out. I get it.
Yeah. Ted Leonsis has been known to stick with guys past when they should.
Right.
I mean, look at our main man, Big Earn. Bert and Ernie.
That's a good point.
He basically was the guy that stayed there for 15 plus years or whatever it was, and just kept having losing seasons and kept on staying. And Scotty Brooks, I understand, he could be a nice guy and all this kind of stuff, and he could be a decent coach. But there's so many other options that you could possibly have, or from the college level, there's Becky Hammond and stuff like that. Like these type of people. I mean, I'm not saying they should hire Becky Hammond or a college coach, but I'm just saying there's options out there that could possibly give you a whole new outlook on this team. Because right now, going out there and playing pretty well and coaching all right, near the later end of the season and getting an 8 seed. I mean, that shouldn't get you an extension after all these years. So, I mean, hey, I think they're going to give him an extension, but I don't think he deserves one.
Here is Scott Brooks' tenure here in D.C., Mike. Comes in, coaches the 2016-2017 season. You lose in the Eastern Conference semifinals. They went 49-33 on the year. That was, I believe, the Celtics series loss there. The following year, Scotty Brooks takes his team 43-39. They lose to the Raptors in the Eastern Conference in the first round. 2018, 32-50, don't make the playoffs. 2019, 25-47, and don't make the playoffs. And then this year, you get into the 8th seed, and you likely get bounced in the first round. Scott Brooks, I don't know what he has done to deserve an extension. Now, do I think they'll give him one? I think you're right. I think it's entirely possible, especially with Russell Westbrook on this team. He's got the connection with Scott Brooks. I think you also might get the credibility of taking this team to the playoffs. Even though, I mean, what's the use of making the playoffs if you're just losing in the first round? But at the same time, I think you're right. I think this is true, even though I really want it to be false because this team has gotten steadily worse ever since Scotty Brooks took over. But I think you're right. I'm on the same page. Fourth one here. The Wizards would be down 0-3 in this series if they had a healthy John Wall instead of Russell Westbrook. True or false?
I'd have to go with false. I mean, or I have to say go with true. Sorry.
Okay.
I would have to say true because of the sole fact that John Wall, him and Russ are, I would say, I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I would say they both are similar in their jump shots. It's not like John Wall was, scoring 32 points like Bradley Beal is shooting, 50% from the outside or something like that. I just think that they both have, solid, I guess you could say, skill sets. I think Russ is a better rebounder than John Wall. John Wall is faster than Russ. And also John Wall is a better passer, in my opinion, than Russ. But at the same time, you're looking at them both, and, it's not like, Russ is having a bad series, that's all you could say. But you're looking at John Wall and saying, like, oh, if he's healthy, yeah, okay. But we were playing the Celtics and all that kind of stuff back then when he broke his hand. This is a Sixers team. It's a number one seed in the entire conference. So, that time, yes, we had healthy John Wall, and he played lights out. But I think Russ and him have a lot of the same skill sets, even though Russ has the better stat output. I just think they both impact the team the same.
There's much bigger problems with this team than the point guard position. I'm with you. This team would get swept as well if John Wall was running the show at point guard. You got it. Again, those John Wall teams of old had guys like Otto Porter Jr., had guys like Kelly Oubre, had other scorers on the team. We don't have those guys. And next one, you trust Tommy Shepard to make the right moves this offseason. True or false, Mike? Do you trust Tommy?
Honestly, I'm going to say false.
Okay. I'm on the same page.
There's nothing else to say because right now, I mean, you just mentioned that Davis Bertans, a whole entire bus situation, and right now it all starts with the draft, number one, which we're not going to get a high draft pick because we made the playoffs and we're out in 4 games. But you're looking at it and saying, okay, he needs to make some type of move in free agency, and that's all you got to say. So we'll have to see what he does in free agency. I'm more so, I know it starts with the draft, but I'm more so intrigued to see what he does in free agency rather than what he does in the draft. Because the draft, you never know if the guy's going to pan out. But free agency, there's guys out there that can help your team. There's a lot of free agents out there.
There is, and we'll see what Tommy Shepard can do. I'm with you. I'm a false on this as well. I don't trust Tommy. I didn't trust Ernie.
Do we trust the Wizards?
I don't trust anybody on this team. And so I'm going to have to say false. And last one here. The Wizards have the right guys to build around. Do they have that young core to build around? True or false?
I would say true, slightly true. I mean, just barely. The needle just barely tilts to the true side, mainly because they do have a nice piece in Rui Hachimura, who they already talked about Russ saying that he is having the responsibility of bringing the best out of Rui at this young age. And, Bradley Beal will see if he signs a long-term deal or whatever he wants to do at some point. And then Russ, I mean, he is getting older, but he's still putting up the stats. I just think, like I said before, I've been saying it for the last decade that they need to get a big man, and I think that's the next piece they have to get because I do believe that you are right when you say that you have to get a lockdown defender like a Trevor Ariza or somebody of that nature. But obviously, not Trevor Ariza anymore. The guy's 80 years old.
Yeah.
But you just have to get that guy. You have to get those two pieces to actually have a chance to compete at a high level. And right now, I think they do, but just barely enough. So we'll have to see what they do in this offseason.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I like Rui. I like Daniel Gafford. But the problem with Daniel Gafford is I just don't know if he can compete against the best centers in the league. Like you can see in this series with Embiid, he's being exposed. It's not really his fault. He's a little bit – he's not as –
undersized.
Yeah, exactly. He's a little bit undersized to Embiid. He's still young. He bites on every Embiid pump fake. A really skilled big man like Embiid. Because the thing that makes Embiid so great is he has kind of the skill set of a guard, but in a big man's body. He has some tremendous footwork. He has good shoot. I mean, he can shoot from outside. He can dribble the ball well. His moves are fantastic. So he can get big men who tend to not move that well to bite on his pump fakes and things like that. And like you said, the little step back jumpers and things like that that the Wizards just have no answer for. I mean, that a guy like Daniel Gafford gets exposed in that situation, just like he would against Jokic or somebody like that. So, I mean, as much as I love Daniel Gafford, I don't know if he's starting center material in the NBA. He's a great bench guy. I think he's the bench guy. But is that what you're building around? Is a backup center? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if Thomas Bryant is the answer in that situation either. So,
I think honestly, Gafford's a 15 to 20 minute guy. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he should come in there and spell
Energy
whoever
guy.
the starter is. Exactly, the guy that comes in there, and dominates the second team of the opposing team. So
Right.
it's like he's not going to be that guy because you look at the stature between Gafford, Len, and Lopez. And me and my co-teacher who used to play college basketball were talking about it the other day, and he was talking about how Embiid is so big that Lopez is the only one that can really match up with his size. Len can kind of, help out with the defensive end because he's a little bit bigger. Gafford's the most athletic, but he's given up like 60 pounds.
That's the
So
problem.
it's like,
Yeah,
I mean,
and Lopez,
that's an issue.
Lopez can guard him, but Embiid is just too quick. That's the problem. Is
Right.
They run these pick and rolls on the outside, and then Embiid just blows by Lopez and draws a foul or gets to the rim. So yeah, there's just no answer. So I'm gonna say tentatively false. Really, I don't think the Wizards have the right guys. I think they have a couple really solid pieces. I don't think they have enough guys to build around. They need to draft well. They need to bring in some other assets. I mean, I'm always in favor of blowing it all up. So we'll see there.
Yeah.
That is the Washington Wizards. We will, before we end the segment, Mike, do the Wizards win Game 4?
No.
Okay.
That's all. It's two letters.
We're in complete agreement. Let's move on.
The Washington Nationals.
We're talking a little Washington Nationals baseball. We will continue the pity party as the Washington Nationals have won one of their last 6 games.
Yep.
And they've got a big series looming. They got the Braves. They got the Phillies coming up. This 5th place in the NL East, which is still kind of a division that's still pretty close, that they could fall back pretty far behind with these division games coming up. I don't want to spend too much time on this team, but at the same time, I want to talk about the scenario that's been floated around by Nats fans on Twitter, and that is the trade deadline. And I want to know which guys on this roster do you believe, Mike, are untouchable trade-wise?
Okay.
So who are your untouchable guys?
My untouchable guys. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire roster. I will pick out a few names. Not saying that you meant that, but like kind of going through. Okay,
list every single player on the 40-man roster. No.
Okay, I'm looking at the pitchers right now. Let's just say the pitchers. Now, Corbin, I would try to keep him because he's still young. He is having a rough year in real life and also in MLB The Show. I should say that too. I've been mentioning. I already got irritated earlier and I texted you, but that was besides the point. But anyways, Corbin, I still think you should keep him. I don't think you should really trade any pitchers for right now because the pitching is really not the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue is just the bats, as we talked about.
But could you trade a pitcher to get some more offense, Mike?
You could, but what pitcher would you trade though? That's the issue because if you're looking at possibly during the trade deadline, which pitcher is going to give you the most either help now or they're going to give you prospects or something of that nature? Which pitcher would be bringing that haul? You're not going to trade Max Scherzer most likely at all. You're not going to trade Steven
trading
Strasburg.
Max Scherzer.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm trading Max Scherzer.
Back to Detroit.
I'm telling no, not back to Detroit. I wish. No, I'm trading. The only guy that's untouchable for me on this pitching staff is Steven Strasburg. I think I'm fine with dealing any of these other guys. If this brings in offense or prospects or something, Mike, the farm system sucks. You have a couple guys in the start. Okay, it doesn't completely suck, but Cade Cavalli, Jackson Rutledge are like the only 2 arms in this farm system that are good. And Rutledge isn't even pitching right now because he's hurt. So if we can, I just think, look, I love Max Scherzer. I would trade him. I would trade any of these guys. Give me assets.
His contract's out too. His
Exactly.
contract's out too,
I know,
so he could re-sign. So that's not a bad idea.
Trade him
But
and then re-sign him.
Right, exactly. And you're looking at the infielders. I mean, I think almost every single infielder, especially Ryan Zimmerman, he's definitely on my trade deadline situation here. But that's besides the point. I think the untouchable for the infielder right now is Trey Turner. I think it's the only one you can do. Possibly Luis Garcia.
This is the Ryan Zimmerman shirt I got you.
That you got me 5 years ago?
I think this was the 2019 playoff run. I think I got you because I think there was a game where Ryan Zimmerman hit like a walk-off or something, and I said, I'm going to buy you a Ryan Zimmerman shirt because I know you hate him so much. And so I've been holding on to that shirt forever. So I hope you still fit it.
Hopefully, that's what I was about to say. Hopefully, I still fit that
hopefully
thing.
I did it. I bought you in a little bit of good size here. Let's see. What did I do? Did I do XL? Yeah, I got XL. So I feel like
I should be able to fit
yeah.
there. That's all right. And then outfielders, I mean, the only one I would keep untouchable is Juan Soto. I mean,
yeah, well, obviously.
The thing about it is when you're looking at the schedule, they have to. I mean, I even said it last week that they have to start winning against the Brewers and the Reds, and they've gone 1-5. So I mean, you're looking at it and saying, okay, this is not a good sign. So I don't really know what's going on. And like you said, Juan Soto batting leadoff. I don't like it when managers do that. They're like, oh yeah, let's put Bryce Harper doing leadoff, and so it's like it makes no sense. To
it's a weird thing. It's trying to because look, Juan Soto has not been hitting that well lately. Like, let's just be honest, he's just not. And it's not all his fault that the team's losing, but at the same time, it's like, man, it would be nice if one of the best hitters on the planet was hitting well. But he's in a slump, and guys go through slumps. So I'm not even really worried about him. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't really love, and we've talked about it on the show, is that was one thing about Dusty Baker that we can give him credit for, is Dusty Baker would keep the lineups pretty much the same. Whether it drove you crazy or not, he wouldn't move guys up and down the lineup. He would give guys, because he thought the stability of guys knowing where they were going to be in the lineup every day was important. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something to that. And Juan Soto randomly batting leadoff, okay, yeah, are you really going to kick and scream because it happened in one game? No, but at the same time, I think you and I have the right to be like, hey, what are we doing? Is Juan Soto batting leadoff going to help us win baseball games? I don't think so. I think getting some other hitters around him is going to help win baseball games. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't really like the tinkering.
Yeah, and then just looking at the whole entire schedule, it just kind of irritates me when you're looking at the schedule. And like I said, these teams that are not world beaters are beating you night in, night out. There is situations where you're looking at it and saying, okay, they're in a little slump, or a couple balls don't fall here or there, or whatever it may be. But like I said before, with this Milwaukee and Cincinnati series, I mean, you're playing 4 against Atlanta and 3 against Philly coming up. It's like you're on a long road trip. You just lost all these games at home. I mean, now you have to go on this road trip against a formidable opponent in Atlanta. Then you got to go against Philly, who Philly's always up and down. You never know what you're going to get from them. But at the same time, it's like you can't have your pitchers like Scherzer and Strasburg going out there and throwing 4-hit baseball, and you lose 4-1 somehow because something happens in the later innings, or you only get muster up 3 hits or something like that. You just can't have that situation happen. And you're looking at the last 4 games that we've lost. We've mustered 3 runs in 4 games.
It's so bad.
3 runs.
It's so bad.
And now I understand there's 2 that are 7-inning games, but in those 2 7-inning games, Milwaukee scored 10. So, I mean, you're looking at it and saying, okay, what are we doing here? Like, you just can't have a situation like that where you have your top guys, Strasburg and Scherzer, go out there and pitch pretty good games, and you don't score a single run for them. It's a whole entire Jordan Zimmerman situation again.
It's not good. I mean, you look at some of the stats. Here's some of the team stats in Major League Baseball. The Nats in RBI, Mike, are 28th in RBI.
Only 28?
They are, let's see, in batting average, they are not terrible. The Nats are actually, see, this is the weird thing. So the Nats are 5th in batting average. So they are getting hits and getting on base, but they're not driving in runs. Because then you look at, you look at the on-base percentage. Again, the Nats are a top 10 team in that. They're 9th in the league in on-base percentage. So they are getting on base, but they just don't have the guys that are driving them. They're middle of the pack in slugging. But in things like home runs, I mean, the Nats are 25th. So they're not hitting home runs, and they're not driving in guys with RBI. So there is a power issue here, especially when there's a team, or especially when this is a team where you brought in guys like Josh Bell and expected them to hit a bunch of bombs, because the team's not walking either. They're 28th in walks. So this lineup is constructed to be a power hitting lineup, and they're just not doing that at all. And that's tough to watch. And then you look at like team ERA. the team is not bad. I mean, 17th. They're in the middle of the pack in team ERA and things like that. So bottom line is this team should be better than a fifth place team in the division. I think we can agree on that.
Right.
That this team is, I mean, the NL East is not the big scary division that everybody thought it might be. It's really kind of been a little bit mediocre. I mean, there's only one team above 500 in the NL East, and that's the Mets right now at 25-20. But the Braves 24-26, the Phillies 25-28, the Marlins 24-28, and the Nats 21-28. So it's not like this division is that good. So if the Nats could still, they're 6 games back of first place in the division. You have a couple good series in a row. Next thing you know, You're in second or third place. But you made the point last time that eventually the time is going to run out for this team to make a run. I mean, the season where they were 16-34 or something like that. We are
19-32.
I can never get the number right. I think it's 1931 because it was 50 games.
Okay, touche.
So they're almost at the 50 game mark. They're 21-28. They're 1 game away from the 50 game mark, and they're 21-28. So that's the thing is, and that was a season where we kind of thought we're thinking the same thing. Like they were last or second to last. They were having a pretty bad year, obviously, and they were able to turn around and at least snag a wild card spot. You don't want to have this team be forced to do the same thing, bring that magic again. I don't think they have the horses to do it. You don't have Anthony Rendon anymore. You don't have some of these other guys that were a big part of the turnaround. I mean, it's just, is Jordy Mercer going to be the guy to help this team turn things around? No, they don't have the same talent. So for me, as far as untouchable guys, besides Juan Soto and Steven Strasburg and Trey Turner, I'm pretty much up for trading anybody. Yeah. Honestly, like I would take anybody. I want to keep those 3, and you could give me an entirely new team around those guys, and I'd be perfectly happy.
Right.
Perfectly happy.
And dating back to the Arizona game where I was talking about scoring runs, dating back to the Arizona game where we scored 17 runs, there's been 15 games. We've gone 6-9, and the highest run output has been 4.
Oh, that's horrible.
Against, or excuse, besides the O's game, I should say. Besides
that
the O's, that doesn't count. They're playing in a double A team.
Little league team.
Yeah, so besides the O's, the biggest one has been 4 against Chicago.
Horrible. That's horrible. I mean, even a team like the Tigers, who are a terrible team, they put up 6 on the Yankees today. I mean, even bad teams are able to score runs and win games every now and then, and the Nats just aren't even doing that. The offense...
Or correction, sorry.
Okay.
5 against Cincinnati, but still they've scored 4, 5, and then basically all 3s across the board.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think you made a great point, though, in that you can't be just scoring 3 runs every time. You can't. Yep. You have to have more offense than that because these pitchers are busting their ass to try to win these games, and they're not. I mean, look, Scherzer lost the 2-1 game the other day, whatever it was in the Cincy game. I mean, your pitcher gives you 2 runs. That's a great outing. What is it? 3 and under and 7 innings is a quality outing, or 6 innings or something like that is a quality outing. I mean, if you can do that, you should be winning baseball games, especially if you have guys like Josh Bell, guys like Kyle Schwarber, and Juan Soto, the best hitter on the planet, and Trey Turner, underrated MVP candidate, and you're still not winning games. It's something's going. Somebody has. If this team is still this bad at the end of June, somebody's got to lose their job, or somebody's got to be traded, or something has to happen. Because if we're still in 5th place at the end of next month, June, it's about to start. And nothing else is done, then this is a big middle finger to the fan base, basically.
Yeah, and that's a big thing as well. I mean, at some point, like you said, the clock is ticking because right now, like I said, we're discounting the Baltimore game. You look at the last 6 games they played, the last 2 series against Milwaukee and Cincinnati at home. They have scored 7 runs in 6 games. Now, when you're scoring a run a game, you can't win there. I mean, you just can't win. That's literally less than, 1.25 runs?
Look at you, math whiz.
1.6. I think
all right, Rain Man, settle down, Rain Man.
I'm going to guess 1.17.
How many toothpicks? Count the toothpicks on the ground.
Well, divided by 6 is 1.16. 1.6. I will admit, I was on point.
Use the calculator.
Well, no, I guessed, and then I tried to see
I'm
if I
going
was
to drop
right.
the toothpicks on the floor, see if you can count them all. Rain Man,
372.
Underrated movie. You seen that movie, Rain Man?
Yes, Tom Cruise. Yes, I've seen it.
Okay.
I love when they go to the casino because I'm a gambling freak.
Yeah, that's true. I have
That's all
something
I
for
got.
that later, a gambling-related thing.
And by the way, just for the sole
Sure.
fact that they beat the O's, I picked up a nice 12-pack of Natural Bohemian.
Natty Bows. Natty
Yes,
Bows.
Natty Bows. I got them just because.
Shout out.
The O's are on a 13-game losing streak, so the Nats might as well be too.
Poor Orioles, man. I mean, it's the Orioles stink. The Nats stink. My Detroit Tigers stink. No team that we like ever wins. Last thing on the Nats before we end the segment is give me a percentage chance of this team making the playoffs. Give me your percentage chance. I want to hear what you think.
So now going to 538.com that has all the percentage chances. I'm just looking at this right now, and I'm going to compare it to that. Right now they have 77 and 85 right now for the Nats, which is an 11% chance to make the playoffs.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were saying 77% chance of making the playoffs. I was like,
no.
Okay.
That's a record.
Okay.
And their run differential being in the negatives.
Great.
But 11% chance by them, which honestly to me that's saying
That's
something
high.
right now.
That's high, right?
I think the only reason they're saying 11% is because of the sole fact that the division has not been a runaway.
Right.
You're not in a division with the Dodgers or anybody of that nature.
I mean, if this team was in the NL West, their season would be done now. Because, you already know that, okay, Dodgers and Padres and things like that, like, those guys are going to be making the playoffs. I mean, we'd be like, all right, well, we're done. We might as well go.
Yeah.
But because the NL East is not a runaway, like you said, there's still Nats fans out there that think we have a chance. What percentage?
Yeah.
What percentage? So 11% is 538. What is MikeSarone.com saying?
I'm going to say a solid 10.
10%.
Just a solid 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going negative 100. That's my percentage chance of this team making
Can
the
I
playoffs.
put $10 on that? Can I put $10 on that?
If the Nats make the playoffs, I feel like I got to do something big.
Oh, like what?
I feel like I was kind of thinking like tattoo related.
Ooh,
Like if the,
like a hidden tattoo?
No. I mean, I have tattoos and stuff, so I don't mind showing it.
No, I'm saying like if it's like a
No.
like a dare or something like that.
That's what. But I'm saying like, if the Nats make the playoffs this year, do I get a tattoo of like their record at 50 games or something like that when I made this proclamation? Or what are they at 20, 21, and 28?
I think you get a tattoo of Josh Bell's face.
Josh Bell's face. If the Nats, but this is a little early for me making this bet because the Nats could win the next two
Josh
series
Bell's
and be in the playoffs.
Josh Bell's average and maybe a quote from one of our podcasts.
Talk to me at the halfway mark.
Okay.
At the halfway mark, and I'm not trying to build in more, but just because the season's still so early, we haven't even hit 50 games. So talk to me at like 80 games, and then.
Okay.
So I'm saying it right now on the podcast. At 80 games, we'll make a bet. I'll make a bet regarding the Nats making the playoffs or not, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out the details there, but it'll be juicy. So stay tuned for that because I'm willing to do something because hey, that means that the Nats have made the playoffs, and I'd be happy about it. But maybe something tattoo related.
Just an FYI from 538.com, again, we're giving them a shout out, that their percentage chance for the Nats making the playoffs, the Nats are tied for third worst from the week 1 predictions with the Orioles. They're tied with the Orioles, went down 7 spots from week 1.
Yikes.
And the worst is the Yankees and Diamondbacks, even though the Yankees are still 65% chance of making the playoffs.
Yikes.
But
not good,
yeah,
not good. But we'll talk about the Nats over the next couple of weeks, and when we get to that 80 game mark, we'll come up with something. Real quick, let's hit up the forecast. We'll talk about. I mean, there's only 2 teams in the district playing. Obviously, the Wizards this week they're down 3-0. Their game 4 is in DC on Monday. Will they win? Probably not. They'll probably be swept and be done. And then the Nats, the only team that will be left playing for the immediate time being, 4 games away at the Braves, 3 away against the Phillies, but. Some other teams are playing. The Washington Mystics, of course, their season has begun, and DC United is playing as well. So, as the summer continues and as the other teams wrap up, we'll talk a little bit about some of those teams as well to fill some time on the show too, to give them their due with some of the major teams out. Let's hit up the final lap. A chance to go over 90 seconds. Quick analysis on big stories in sports for Michael. Let's go. Chelsea beats Man City to win the Champions League. Michael, I watched this game.
I know. I saw you did watch that game. I did not watch it because my boys Real Madrid did not make it. So Didn't really care so much.
Wow. Okay. Well, Chelsea won. Koepka and DeChambeau. It's the biggest rivalry in sports right now, Mike.
Yeah, I would have to lean towards Koepka because I'm just not a big Bryson DeChambeau fan. I think he's so overrated. It's unfair.
Koepka did the little eye roll, the little sigh when Bryce
Drop
walked
a couple
behind him.
F-bombs.
Yeah, it was not pretty. Let's see. The Seahawks and the Falcons are discussing a possible Julio Jones trade.
Who would they trade for Julio Jones?
No
Because
idea.
that would be an insane wide receiver core with Julio Jones, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett.
Sounds a little juicy.
Juicy.
The Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers. I can't even show the D.
There it is. There
Swept
it is.
the New York Yankees this weekend, Mike.
Nice.
Okay. There is a prop bet going out there. Over under 2.5 touchdowns for Tim
I saw
Tebow
that.
this upcoming season. Mike, are you going over or are you going under 2.5?
I would say over because I like overs, but at the same time, I saw a prop bet that said he would get 12 yards of receiving over under that. And I'm like, that's like 2 catches.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to make the team no matter what because him and Urban Meyer are so close.
He's gonna get one of those touchdowns. He's gonna do the little knee, little Tim Tebow thing. What is it? Was it this?
Yeah.
Is that the thing where he puts the fist on his forehead?
I think yeah, Tebowing.
Yeah,
I keep
Tebow.
thinking of
Remember that was big like
Griffin,
10 years
I keep
ago or
thinking.
whatever it was when he was doing that.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow. All right, Mike. It's time.
Ooh,
Now listen to this. All right, settle in.
listening.
This is the
Settle in.
reoccurring segment. Would Mike give up fast food and alcohol for a year?
Got
4.
it.
This is so. I'm going off of the theme of something I used earlier for other things is the golden ticket, Mike. The golden ticket concept. But for this one, it is a Las Vegas golden ticket, and here's the stipulations.
Ooh.
You have 48 hours. You have room and board at your whatever your preferred hotel is in Las Vegas,
Okay.
and you have a card, a golden card of unlimited funds for you to use at the casino for 48 hours. The limit, okay, it's not unlimited because that would be insane. But let's say
that really was intriguing.
let's say the limit on the card that you have free money. It's all yours to use. We'll
Okay.
say $100,000. No. Here we'll go $250,000. $250,000 is on this golden card that is yours to use or lose. Basically, like you don't have to pay it back. It is yours. It's on that card, and you can use it in the casino for 48 hours. And that's the deal. That's the deal. You just have to give up fast food and alcohol for a year, and then you get to go spend 2 days in Vegas. You get
So
200.
I get $125,000 a day.
200.
No, a day.
No. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you split it up into a day, sure.
I'm trying to make up my math.
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah. So you have 2 days, and you have that amount of money to bet as much as you want for those couple days. But once that money runs out, it's out. Like it's not like if you bet all 250,000 in one roulette wheel spin, you're done.
Oh,
I know
not a
you wouldn't do
moron.
that. I know you wouldn't do that. But would you give up fast food and alcohol for a year for that opportunity?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I would have done it for $50,000. To be honest.
Oh,
So yes,
okay.
I would definitely do
So
that.
I've got it
because
then.
Yes,
All
I would definitely
right.
do that. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Okay.
I
okay.
love number one. I love Vegas. Number two, free money is that much sweeter. And number three, I can sit there and with the oxygen pumped through my blood in
Right.
the casinos,
All that
I
fake
can literally
oxygen.
just sit there. Hey, honestly, giving up fast food and alcohol for a year, if I get it back after a year, that's great. And
Right.
if I can sit there and make $50,000, I'm 50 grand richer. And all I did was not eat Taco Bell and drink rum and cokes for a year.
So I know the key to Michael's heart is the gambling. That
Yes,
is
it
the
is.
key, and that is I've unlocked it, and now I have found what Mike would give up fast food and alcohol for a year for. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel good about this achievement. I feel a little sad that I have finally found the way in, and
Yeah.
now I need to come up. I don't know if I continue this game. I don't know if I start with a new game. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'll think
We'll have to
about it.
see.
I'll think about it. But Mike, I know we have the game that you and I have been playing for a while now,
Yes.
and that is the DC Sports Trivia game. And I believe I'm undefeated on this. We were talking about it before
I
the
think
show.
you are 2-0. I have given you some tips, but at the same time, you're
Yeah,
not
but at the same
a
time-
hardcore fan.
Right,
so
right. I mean, I step on the NBA court, they're going to let me shoot a couple shots, open shots.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're like the team manager back in high school where they let him in for the last
I don't
like
know about
30
that.
seconds
I don't know
of
about
the
that.
game.
Okay.
All right. So here you go. You got to know Washington sports trivia game for Mr. Ben Simpson. Another WFT/Redskins
This
question.
is the opposite of my wheelhouse, I'd say.
Yes. I asked you beforehand, should I give you a different sport? And you're like, just
So I've
do whatever you want
gotten
to
the
do.
ones I've gotten right. I believe the answers were like Pierre Garçon and
Brian
Mitchell's
the
team,
team
which
that he
was
left.
the Eagles.
Eagles.
Right. Yeah. So
Yep.
I've gotten those are my 2-0. Okay.
Okay. So I will switch sports up for next week.
Sure, that's fine.
But this is the last question for this card that I have. In 2009, what Redskins rookie linebacker recorded 11 sacks and earned a reserve spot on the NFC Pro Bowl team? So in 2009, what Redskins rookie linebacker recorded 11 sacks and earned a reserve spot on the NFC Pro Bowl team?
Okay. There's a couple.
I'll give you one question that you can ask me, and I will tell you the answer. Yes or no.
Okay.
Yes or no
Actually, I have a great question. Is it a white guy?
Nope.
Okay. That's good. Not that that's good. I just mean like that helps me because
All right.
Okay.
There we go. All
I
right.
am gonna go with Brian Arakpo.
Yes.
Oh, boom.
Correct.
I mean, boom. So here's the thing. I was going,
Yes.
but the two names. Oh yeah. Let me play the coins here.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Get
I
the
mean,
coins.
I'm 3.
Get the
I mean,
Mario Kart coin.
I'll tell you one thing, people. Is I know we're doing a DC sports podcast. The Washington football team is the team I know the least about of the 4
Yep.
teams that we do shows on, and
That's right.
I mean I'm 3-0 in Washington football team questions, and that's incredible. So the two guys that were in my mind I was like, okay, was Ryan Kerrigan on this team that early? Like, was he somebody that could have been in the mix there? And then I was like,
I believe Ryan Kerrigan was after Iraq, but I think he was a
Right.
year or two after
right.
Iraq.
So I wasn't sure about it, and then I was like, I remember. I mean, I know Brian. I mean, here's the thing. I watched the Redskins play, so like I knew like some of these guys, and Brian Arakpo I knew was dominant. So wow, I mean, I'm just so impressed with myself.
Now, question.
yeah.
Which college did Brian Arakpo get drafted from?
Oh man, I mean, almost no chance of getting this right.
Big 12.
I mean, I don't know if I could even tell you teams in the Big 12.
You're a Big 10
I'm
guy.
a Big 10 guy. That's my wheelhouse. Big 12, what? Texas?
Correct.
I mean, what the hell? I need to go to Vegas. Let's go to Vegas. $250,000 gold card. Let's go.
I'll give you some.
Oh
I'll give
my
you some
God. How did? I don't know, man. This.
of that. Texas.
I mean,
Oh, come on.
I need to go on Jeopardy. Shout out Alex Trebek. Rest in peace. Money line time. Cha-ching. All right. Last week we took a little break from Moneyline because it was a different type of show. If you listen to last week's show, it was live on the air. We didn't do all of our same segments. It was mainly just a caps recap, a little bit on the whiz. So it was a little different. But we're back into the Moneyline, the picks of the week. The records right now. Again, I'm 6-8. Mike is 7-7. He's 500. I'm 6-8. We're right there. We are competing. And I didn't even notice this because I didn't look at your picks. Mike and I have the same lock. So that's good. Nets over Celtics on Tuesday. We both have that. So that just shows, like, we're smart guys if we're both picking the same thing. For our upsets, though, I'm going to say Grizz over Jazz, and I'm afraid to make this pick, but at the same time, I'm like, I got to go with it. I like the Grizzlies. I watched their game last night. I know the Jazz are the better team. They're going to win the series, but the Grizzlies are really fun to watch. John Morant randomly could get hot. I mean, let's say he puts up 55 on Monday, and next thing you know, the Grizz get the dub. So Grizz over Jazz on Monday.
Well, I also told you multiple times that I thought that Giannis should have gone to the Grizz because of their young star lineup. And they had a good core, and that's why they're showing it against the Jazz. Now, like you said, they're not going to beat the Jazz, with the series, but they did win a game, and we might see them on Monday. That was going to be a close to my upset pick as well. Now, my upset picks have been over basically the entire season so far. My locks have been locks.
Yeah, that's why you're 500.
Yeah, they've been awful. But I will start with my lock, Brooklyn over Boston, as you mentioned on Tuesday. And my upset, because I'm drinking a nice cold natural Bohemian, I'm going to go with the O's for the third straight week.
Is that even an
The O's
upset? What's the record?
It is an upset. I did look it up.
I'm going to double check. I'm going to cross-reference you. So Twins are 21-31. Orioles are 17-36. Okay, yes, technically an upset of two of the worst teams in baseball.
tomorrow. Well, I had to have a chance.
I know.
Tomorrow, the Baltimore's also lost 13 straight.
But then to be
So,
fair, Minnesota has won.
something's got to give.
Minnesota's won 7 of their last 10. So yeah, I mean, shout out to the
Yeah.
Twins, back on the winning streak.
And also, Michael Pineda is pitching on Tuesday.
My guy,
So
I have him in fantasy. That's my guy.
I'm hoping that he struggles a little bit. Maybe Trey Mancini gets a couple bombs in Camden Yards. Who knows? I don't know.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. I need my guy, Pineda. I need my
I
fantasy.
need to get an upset pick. I need to get an upset
All
pick
right.
at some point.
All
I mean,
right.
let's be honest here.
That's my fantasy team. Big League Chew. That's the name of my team.
Ooh, I like
Big League
that.
Chew.
I mean, the Baltimore has screwed me like the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm just trying to win one upset pick with them.
I get it.
I mean,
That's a good pick.
It's not good. I mean, something's got to give though.
Something's got to give. That's a good movie. By the way, in fantasy baseball, Mike, I've won 3 in a row, 3 weeks in a row, and I just want to point this out. I don't think we've talked about it on the show, and I know we're wrapping up, but I am the fantasy god this past year, Mike. I won in fantasy
said
football.
that. Mm-hmm.
I won in fantasy basketball. I'm going for the elusive triple crown and winning a championship in fantasy baseball. If I pull that
It's
off,
impressive.
I mean, I deserve a parade in my honor.
Yeah.
We'll call the town.
I don't know who to call.
You live
but yeah.
in Herndon now. Let's call Lisa Merkel. Shout out to Lisa Merkel, the mayor of Herndon, and let's get this thing arranged.
I didn't know Herndon had a mayor.
Well, you live here now. You better pay your respects.
I'm paying HOA fees for a pool.
God, yeah, HOA.
That's not open
HOA
yet.
fees. Yeah, they dinged us for some green moss or something on our fence. That's like there's not even a path behind. So in our backyard, it just is woods. So there's no it's like a fence and then it's woods.
It's Narnia.
So there's nobody walking behind there because there's no path or anything. It's just the woods.
Yeah.
But for some reason when HOA comes around and does their inspection, they go back there. They spotted some sort of green discoloration on our fence and they dinged us for it. So now we have to go buy some chemicals and spray it on the fence to fix it for something that nobody can see, except for HOA once a year when they come around.
Well, I love it how my HOA hasn't changed a single bit, and basically they said, hey, we're not going to open up the gym because we're having legal counsel talk to us about that. And I'm like, the gym hasn't been open since last summer, and the pool is not opening yet because they're still waiting on the pool. I'm like, what am I paying
Our
for?
pool's
here?
opening, and get this. Our pool's opening, and the rules are you have to be 10 feet away from somebody else in the pool. I don't even understand. That's not even the law in the world.
How is that possible?
First of all, we're outside. I mean, look, we're not turning this a COVID thing, but at the same time, first of all, we're outside. Second of all, not even in the world is there a rule about being 10 feet apart from each other. It was 6 feet, and that was 6 months ago. And now they're you don't even have to do that. And now my pool says you have to be 10 feet away from each other in the pool. How are we even going to fit more than 10 people in the pool if we're all 10 feet away?
Yeah, exactly. That's
it's
my
like we're
point.
playing Minesweeper. You know Minesweeper on the computer?
Oh,
you click
yeah.
the thing?
I love that. I know how to. It took me 10 years to learn how to play it.
Yeah,
but
I still don't know what the
learned it.
numbers mean. Yeah, I don't understand these rules. Shout out to HOAs. Just terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And last little bit here. I have a question. Do you like oysters?
Actually, I like fried oysters. I'm not a big fan of the standard regular oysters,
The raw ones.
the raw ones. I'm not. I mean, I would eat them and not get sick or anything, be weird about it. But I'm more of a fried oysters guy. I mean, I'm a fried anything guy. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've had them. You do the little and you suck them down. You put. That's what you do.
What do you do?
Because and here's the thing, you squirt a little sauce on it, maybe a little hot sauce or Tabasco or whatever.
Yeah. Is that okay?
And then you just suck them down.
So let's keep doing this. The noises.
Yeah. Why did you have oysters yesterday?
Yeah. So I thought I liked them. Okay. My girlfriend she loves them and
snotty.
stuff like that.
They have the consistency of snot.
Okay. That's a good.
I didn't mean they were snotty snobby people eat them. I mean, it's true too, though. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but she said that they're hey, why don't you try these? And the guy was talking to us about something or another. And sorry, she's listening right now in the other room.
Right.
She's sending me the GIF of the White Chicks movie with Terry Crews doing the oysters.
Oh, right.
Anyways, do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean,
that part?
yeah.
Okay, good. So, anyways, besides the point. So, the funny thing is that I love seafood, and I thought I had
Same.
an oyster before or something like that. I believe I did. But, I had it last night, and I just, it just gave me this weirdest reaction where I was I just took a bite out of sand from Ocean City.
Yeah, it's very from the sea where, it tastes like the ocean a lot of the time, and then, it's not appetizing. I don't know why people like it so much, because it's like I said, it has a consistency of snot, I don't mean to gross everybody out, but it does. And then like it tastes like you're just drinking sand. Yeah, you're right. Like you're drinking sand, and it's not like it fills you up. You have to eat like 23 of them to like be full.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but fried oysters are pretty good. Again, try some of those.
Yeah, I haven't had. I might have had a fried oyster before. I'm not exactly sure, but I thought I had oysters before, and apparently not. I'm not a big fan of them,
No.
but I definitely like the other bits that we had. The
Oh,
other bits
dude,
were
I
pretty
love
good last
seafood.
night.
No. I mean, yeah, one of my favorite things, we will have the show at some point, but one of my favorite dishes is at an Italian restaurant, you get the one where they give you a pasta and with all this different seafood in it, where they throw the clams in it and the shrimp in there and like I think it's like pasta di mare. I think that's literally what it is, like pasta and
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah, and it is. And they like throw in all this different seafood in there, and it's always really expensive, but it's always delicious, dude, because I love clams and all that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good.
People make fun of people who eat crabs because literally you're not eating like at all like anything because the meat is so small. Not like crab legs, but like blue crab.
Right.
But it's more of a conversational type of food.
But it's still good.
And I
mean,
love crabs.
Yeah, man, crabs, lobsters, all that stuff, dude, is so good. It's so I'm a big seafood guy. You and I need to go to like Long John Silver's. That's are those still around anymore?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
They're just hidden because no one ever goes to them.
Yeah, it's just one guy like in his house or something. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yesterday I saw a BJ's wholesale, and I was like, I didn't even know those were still around.
I didn't know either.
Yeah,
but
who shops
but
there?
yeah,
who would get a membership though?
I don't know. Shout out to BJ's.
BJ's sponsor of the show.
Sponsor of the show. Shout out to Long John Silver's as well, and shout out to you guys for listening to this point. We are just about done here on the DC crossover. Mike, before we go, any pieces of advice or final thoughts for the fans at home? Don't eat.
Nope.
I guess your advice is don't eat oysters.
Well, no, that's not my advice. Some people like oysters.
Weirdos
to me, it was just
do. Yeah, people that like drinking snot or whatever. I mean, do you really
Ben's
want to
advice.
consume your food? Like, do you really want to do that? No.
Nah. Well, I tried to do it the first time, and I got all the watery bit first.
Man.
So it felt like I just got
disgusting.
like you get like in one of those like rip currents in like Ocean City or something like that, and all of a sudden like you're just eating sand at the bottom of the ocean because you can't get up.
Yeah, your ears clogged for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it felt like that. It felt like you're gritting your teeth with sand.
There's sand. I mean, there's sand everywhere. Yeah, that's why the beach sucks. Go to a pool. Pool's better. No oysters. Just go to the pool.
Not your pool though. You can't fit there.
Yeah, I got one of 10 feet. I take up like half the pool. Nobody's gonna be allowed in. Diet starts Tuesday, by the way. Diet starts Tuesday.
Ooh.
I've just been packing it on.
Let me
Anyways,
know how it goes.
final thoughts. We got to wrap this up. What's your give me something?
Man, I can't help you there.
Well.
That's all my thoughts right now.
All right, that's all right. Hey, that's what oysters do to you.
Natty Bo, go get a 12-pack for $10 at Total Wine & More.
Yeah, we're sorry for the Wizards fans at home that have to watch the series and watch this season, Game 4 loss coming up. Shout out to Frank Hanrahan, who was on the Contender yesterday as we record the Saturday evening after the game. Did a little post-game show. I tweeted at him. He talked about my question on the air. No big deal. Humble brag. Please follow the show at the DC Crossover and at Cerrone16. Subscribe to the show on Spotify, on iTunes, wherever you catch your podcasts. We are there. Rate, review as well. And then always catch us on thecontender.com. It's a fun thing. There's a lot of new shows on there. There's a new show joining the network, I think. So if you like live sports talk, DC, Chicago, all the good stuff, go to thecontender.com on your phone, on your computer, whatever. Just throw it on in the background while you're working or pretending to work like me. Just throw it on in the background. Enjoy sports talk. Mike and I's voice is on there on Tuesdays and throughout the week. And besides that, people, enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend and your week after the holiday, which is always just terrible having to come back to work after a holiday. Shout out to Long John Silver's. We'll see you next time. We'll wrap up the show. We'll see you next time. This has been another episode of the DC Crossover.